Hey folks, this is Matt Ackley, CMO of IronPlanet. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes as folks are dialing in. Just bear with us a couple more minutes. All right. I just want to welcome. This is Matt Ackley, CMO of IronPlanet, and I want to welcome everybody thank you for attending our third session in this webinar series. We set up this webinar series because I think running a marketplace like IronPlanet, we get to see a lot of what is going on in the industry, and we get to experience a lot, and we get to try a lot. And so, we wanted to start a program where we get to, share that information with folks in the industry and have a dialogue about that. So, I can't tell you how excited I am about today's webinar. This is going to be absolutely fascinating. So I've been at IronPlanet now for about 7 months, and I've been doing digital marketing for a long time. And I think one of the most amazing trends we've seen in the last 5 to 7 years has been the rise of social and the rise of mobile. And quite frankly, those two go hand in hand. And when I came to IronPlanet, it's okay. This is a different vertical. This is a different industry. Is social really, would social really be a factor here? And we started testing some stuff, and we started seeing some truly amazing results, and specifically with Facebook. And so when we put together this webinar series, we really wanted to have an opportunity to share some of that information with you, and graciously we have Selin Tyler today from Facebook, and they have graciously started to share. They wanted to come and share some of this information with you guys, and I think you're going to see a presentation that's just chock full of information that you guys can use day in, day out when it comes to optimizing for social and optimizing for mobile. So before I turn it over to Selin, just some quick housekeeping. We're going to record this as we always do. The beauty of recording is that it'll be distributed to everybody after the session, so you can send it on to folks in your organization or listen to it again. And then as always, we ask that you hold your questions until the end. We will leave time for a Q&A session, and at that point you'll be able to type your questions into the chat box, and Selin and I will take a shot at answering them. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Selin, and let's get started.
Business trends that we're seeing here at Facebook, and then share with you how we're thinking about leveraging these trends to grow our advertiser business using Facebook, Instagram, and Audience Network. So before we get started, let me quickly share with you the agenda that I would love to go through with you. First, I want to, like I said, give a little bit of context by talking about consumer trends we're seeing and how this impacts businesses. Then secondly, I will talk about how to reach the right people at the right time as people use their mobile phones more and more. And then lastly, I'm going to touch upon some of the free and advertising solutions we offer here at Facebook to transform some of the effective traditional marketing strategies into the mobile world. And I believe and I hope we have plenty of time at the end for your questions, so please keep them coming in the chat box. So let's dive right into the insights. I think it's important to pause for a minute to think about how mobile has changed business. Arguably in our lifetime, or even in the last 200 years, a technology has never been adapted as fast as mobile. It's expected to overtake TV in terms of time spent in the next 1 or 2 years, which is a fascinating fact to ponder upon in itself. And when you think about mobile, making phone calls has been around for years and years. There's something about smartphones and the new mobile technology that has came about in the last 10 years or so that has completely changed the way we do business. So why is that? Mobile is the great enabler, connecting more and more people on the planet faster than any other medium in history. As we become more global, mobile is the way for us to connect with the rest of the world. But while mobile provides a foundation, we need to understand how people use mobile, and specifically, how do B2B decision makers do their research with mobile. At the end of the day, the rules of business started changing very, very fast thanks to mobile. As people spend more time on their mobile devices, these devices are informing and influencing a bigger part of the B2B decision-making process. And that's kind of what I want to dive into next. So let's first look at, when I say people are spending more and more time on mobile, let's put a little bit of flesh to that. When we look at how much time people spend, this is US last year, we're seeing that people are spending less than half an hour on print on a daily basis. And when it comes to TV, this is approximately 3 hours. And mobile is also 3 hours, although a tiny bit less than TV right now. But as I said, it's quickly catching up to TV time spent. And for those folks who might be not in the US, we also did a similar research in the UK, and what we see is that the similar patterns hold also for UK audiences. In the UK, people spend approximately 20 minutes or less on print. TV is, again, 3 hours for both, and then mobile is slightly less in the UK than in the US, so it's about 2.6 hours. But what's really interesting about mobile is that the time spent on TV or traditional media and mobile are different. Mobile devices, as we all know, are up close and personal. It's in our hand. So our brains tend to think about mobile in a different way and focus on the mobile screen alone, and it commands our attention much more. What we're seeing in some of the research we've done in external parties is that mobile holds our attention twice as much as TV, because we over time have learned to ignore TV and we can multitask. But when it comes to our mobile devices, that's something that feels a lot more up close and personal. So that's something super different about mobile that we're seeing that we did not see in the traditional media channels before. And I think this chart is where things start getting interesting and where we see the biggest opportunity for change. This chart compares the percentage of time spent by people, and that is in the blue graphs, the blue bars that you will be seeing. And then on the green bars, what you're seeing is the advertising spend on each one of these medium. So where the biggest discrepancy is that you will see right away is the amount of money spent on print is significantly, as you see here, 4x more than the amount of time people spend on print. But when it comes to mobile, this trend is reversed. So people are spending twice as much time as the ad spend. So this is where we see the biggest opportunity. And I'm sharing US data here, but the discrepancy in time spent versus media spend holds almost across all countries I research, especially when it comes to print media versus mobile discrepancy that you're seeing in this graph. So at the end of the day, advertisers is still spending a significant amount of their budget on traditional media channels where people are harder and more expensive to reach. Matt, I know you wanted to chime in here with a story.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, I wake up, folks around IronPlanet know, I wake up every day and the first 3 words I say to myself are mobile, mobile, mobile. Because, it's a fascinating trend, and it's one, those of us who've been in marketing for a while and those of us who've been in a certain industry for a while, you have to remind yourself every day about how mobile is changing the way people work, and it's changing the way people communicate, and it's changing the way people absorb information. I mean, just when we look at our own stats, we'll see on certain days we will reach a point where 80% of our traffic, 80% of our traffic comes from a mobile device. That is just, I mean, that's absolutely, when you put it in a context, it's absolutely astounding, right? 80% of our people are coming to our site on a mobile device. And if we don't optimize, everything from the site experience to our advertising to take advantage of that, then we're missing out on a massive opportunity. And I don't think we're any different than folks out there, if you're a dealer or whatnot, right? I mean, specifically in this industry, right? Specifically, if you think about the types of people we're trying to communicate with, right? They're not sitting behind a desk. They are out, out doing stuff, right? Out on a job site and so forth. So it's important. It's so important that we keep mobile in mind. And then when it comes to, getting your message out there, right? People, mobile and social go hand in hand. And where we've seen, when we've started to run our campaigns, when we've started to reach out to people and try to engage them, right? We look at our Facebook traffic, it's at that 80% mobile, even higher sometimes, that mobile percentage. And what you have there, what you have with mobile, right, is you have this ability to engage the user, specifically in this industry with the type of equipment we're selling and so forth, right? When that comes up in the feed, right, it's a really, really engaging picture. And so we see incredible response rates in our Facebook mobile advertising, right? Not only people clicking to the sites, but people liking ads, people, so, doing all sorts of engaging activities with the, the advertising on a mobile device. So just, absolutely important. I cannot stress enough, right? You have to think mobile. You have to think mobile. And so, we put that, we've made that part of, everything we do.
Awesome. That's a great segue into kind of what I wanted to touch on next. And it's a trend that we're seeing with a significant part of our advertiser base. So it's great to hear the story from your end too, Matt. And this is kind of a dire picture, so I don't want to, create a dire picture. Full disclosure. The idea here is just wanted to give you an image of something that's just so familiar. And at the end of the day, print, TV, all these traditional methods are tried and true, and they work for a reason. But what I really want to convey is the question is more, how do we translate them into communication methods and ad experiences that work in the mobile world? So leverage the power of mobile to make our advertising dollars work even harder. And that's our goal at Facebook, is to make sure that your business is reaching the right people. And the people who are looking at your ads are finding it useful and relevant. So both sides are happy, and advertising feels less intrusive but more helpful, as Matt said earlier. We want to make sure that when people are seeing ads, it doesn't feel like an ad almost, but helpful information to them. So I've been in the B2B side, marketing side of things for about 5 years now, and I have really seen the paradigm shift right in front of my eyes. One of the biggest misnomers that I consistently hear is, why should I advertise in social or mobile? Business people are not on social media making business decisions. And you know, what is interesting is that even though this is a very, very common belief, it could really not be further from the truth. At the end of the day, business people are people, and as time people spend shifts more towards mobile, the same people use their mobile devices in their purchase decisions. One quote that I really love is that mobile is mobile. So unlike any other technology we had before, and you know, as Matt touched upon, a mobile device comes with you wherever you are. So if you have that question in your head, you can type it, quickly find out the answers, or you know, if you have 5 minutes in between meetings, you might be on Facebook. It's just something that comes with you wherever you go. So in fact, 34% of people involved in B2B purchase decisions use their mobile device at every stage of the path to purchase. And video especially plays a big role in their research. And unlike the advertising trends that I talked about earlier, the general trends about spending on print versus mobile, we're actually seeing a lot more adoption coming from B2B companies in creating increasingly mobile-friendly sites, better quality content, and using social media as their distribution channel to distribute videos, content, etc. So, and this is, you know, this is the bane of my existence, this slide, and why I work at Facebook, why I wake up every day, and I'm grateful to be here. At the end of the day, when you want to reach people on mobile, you want to reach them where they spend their time. And with Facebook family of apps and services, you have access to some of the world's most used and most engaged apps. So let me kind of share with you some of those numbers. When it comes to audience size, Facebook has almost 2 billion people monthly accessing Facebook. And then when you add Instagram to that, that's another 600 million monthly people on Instagram. And we also have this network called Audience Network, which is mobile apps and websites that have been vetted by Facebook, high quality sites where you can expand your reach. But it's not just the sheer reach that we're talking about, it's also time spent. So 1 out of every 5 minutes spent on a mobile device is spent on a Facebook property. And then when you add the audience network to this, that's 16% additional reach that you would be getting on mobile. So when you're thinking about time spent and number of people reach, Facebook is a very easy and convenient way to get to your target audience. But let's double click on this and dive a little bit deeper. It's not just the sheer number of people, you know, if these people are all under 18, obviously this might not matter to you, but let's talk about B2B decision makers you have access to. So for business marketing, the challenges are unique and tactics differ from consumer-facing marketing. However, business results and business decisions are still driven by real people, and Facebook is the best place to reach those people at scale. When I joined Facebook, one of the biggest preconceived notions I started hearing is that B2B professionals do not want to receive B2B marketing in the Facebook newsfeed. However, mobile blurs the lines between personal and professional. And what you see here on this, is that 53% of marketers regard Facebook as an effective B2B marketing channel for generating meaningful sales leads, and that's compared to 55% who thought the same about, you know, about LinkedIn, which is a professional social network. So we looked at number of people in B2B audiences, but let's also talk about how engaged they are on Facebook. Facebook's impact in reaching your target audience comes into play when we look at time spent on mobile by B2B purchasers. A lot of time people spend is with Google properties, YouTube, Yahoo, MSN, AOL, Twitter, Pinterest. I'm sure you're familiar with all of these. But more and more time, but total time is spent more on mobile on Facebook and Instagram than all of those properties combined, which is interesting. And so, you know, combining that with the last fact that I shared, 20% of total time spent on mobile is on Facebook and Instagram. This kind of engagement gives you significant opportunities to connect with your core customers and your prospects. And, you know, I really want to touch on where B2B marketing dollars are spent. The other trend we're seeing among B2B marketing executives is that social is increasingly becoming the leading digital marketing channel, more so than paid search and display ads. So when it comes to influencing decision makers, distributing your message on social media, and then mobile and video advertising are the other things that are gaining traction. So this is where we're seeing B2B marketers invest more and more when it comes to their digital strategy. It's interesting to note. All right, so now that we've kind of gone over some trends, we know that people are spending their time on mobile, B2B decision makers are really engaged on mobile, especially on social media. Let's look at some of the effective ways to reach them. I already talked about Facebook's scale, but I really wanted to share some numbers that might be more relevant for the audiences that you might be targeting. First, let's look at the B2B audience. Facebook native targeting today identifies over 150 million people in the US who are interested in business. And beyond that, we can dive into smaller audiences based on job title, information, and qualifiers such as purchase makers and small business owners. I am not going to dive into these numbers in the interest of time, but you will receive the recording. Feel free to take a look at some of these specific segments. So, for example, people that are in sales, small business owners, business marketing purchasers, etc. And the other layer on top of this, we also have partnerships with third-party data providers so that you're guaranteed to reach your target audience on Facebook, that we can layer on top of the Facebook data. And again, I want to double click and give you even more specific information of some of the interests you may be targeting on Facebook. I searched a few interests that IronPlanet was kind enough to provide me beforehand and saw that together some of these interest groups that I listed on the right reach over 25 million people in North America and Europe, and even more when we are adding the other continents to it. So you can you can do aggregate targeting based on some of these interests that I listed here, or you can hone your targeting even more and, for example, target people who are only interested in Caterpillar brand or construction management, or someone who's interested in Equipment World magazine, et cetera, et cetera. Matt, I know you wanted to share a story here as well.
No, this is kind of where this is kind of where it gets interesting, right? So we talked about the reach, and it's quite broad, and we talked about the fact that people in business do use social tools like Facebook and so forth, but the ability to get to have massive reach in a highly targeted way is something very, very new, right? And this has been basically the story behind Facebook's advertising platform. And so you think about us, right? You think about we just had the auction in Florida. It's our biggest auction live event of the year. I recently just got back from that. When we were driving awareness for that event leading up to Florida, right? Facebook played a major role in that effort. And you look at our reach. So if I go back and I look at the campaigns that we ran, for Florida, right? We were able to reach 15 million people around the world. Right? And you start to look at the stats, and you see that we had 122 people, right? Or excuse me, people from 122 countries, visit come and participate in the Florida auction, right? Either by bidding or visiting the page. We were able to attract the attention from people, worldwide, 122 countries, and you're able to do that, incredibly easily and incredibly effectively from a cost perspective, right? And then you start to look at these target segments. So we can go, we can go and say, all right, give me all people in Brazil who are, who are interested in either construction or Caterpillar. I can go and, we're becoming closer friends, but I can go and say, all right, show me all people who, have an interest or follow, Ritchie Brothers auctions, right? And let me target a message to them. And, so you are getting, the beauty of this is you are getting people based on their declared interest, and that's significant, right? Because when you see these interests, right here, these are people who have gone into their profiles, right, and said and basically are raising their hand and saying, hey, I'm interested in John Deere. I'm interested in Caterpillar. Or I follow, I'm interested in following, Equipment World magazine. So you know that this is your target audience. It's not, it's not like how other channels do it, where you have to kind of cobble together, oh, this person visited, these 50 websites, so they must be interested in construction. Right? This is a case where people are raising their hand and they're self-identifying that I'm interested in these things. And so when you serve them ads, or when you give them that message, right, in their newsfeed, they're already receptive to that message, and you see this higher engagement. So, and it's simple to set up. Like when you set up these ads, like you can go in, it's just a matter of like picking, these people from a drop-down list, and you can combine, interest with geography. So if you're a dealer in North Carolina, let's say, all right, show me all people interested in Caterpillar who live in the state of North Carolina. That takes like 5 seconds to go do. So it's just an incredibly powerful platform that I think folks out there really need to take advantage of.
Awesome. That's a really good segue into something that we strongly believe in when it comes to marketing on Facebook, real people and not proxies. Because at the end of the day, numbers are only part of the story. Our products let you reach real people. As Matt said, these are self-identified people who say, this is information about me, these are my interests, these are my passions, this is the industry I work for, etc., etc. And in traditional media and also most digital media, you have a proxy of what type of audience you will be reaching. But at the end of the day, if you mailed a catalog, you don't know who read it or if anybody even read it. Or if you're buying ads on TV or websites, you have a general idea of the audience, but you will be likely paying for eyeballs that are not in your target audience. And no one wants wasted impressions and wasting your budget on people outside of your core customer base. Since getting the attention of a B2B decision maker is tough enough, at Facebook we want to make sure that you're reaching your ideal audience. And I want to really break down some of the ways that we do this. So the first one is called core audiences, and we have a few different ways of getting at core audiences, and let me kind of go through some of them. Demographics, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You can reach people based on demographic information, excuse me, like age, gender, education, and things of that nature. Location, I think this one is super interesting. Matt already touched on this a little bit, but I think it's a really important one to utilize. So you can obviously, with location, you can reach people in certain cities, countries, and communities where you do business or where you want to do business. But an interesting layer to think about is targeting people traveling to a certain destination. So for example, you can target people around a major convention, a live event that they're traveling to. And then the next one is interests, reaching people based on their interests, hobbies, or pages they like on Facebook, which we already kind of touched upon. Could be someone interested in Equipment World magazine, for instance. And
yeah,
then
location is fun, Selin. As Selin mentioned, live events, right? So in this industry, we do there are a lot of live events, right? We just did Florida. We have this live event, hosted by, Cashman coming up in Las Vegas, right? And so right, the beauty about this and some of the location targets. So not only, I mentioned the state, right? You can actually location target, down to, it's called geofencing, down to like an area, right? A 1 mile radius. So, we were just, as I mentioned, we were just down in Florida and we were staying at the hotel and we had a meeting at the hotel. And one of the folks at the meeting came walking into the meeting. He's like, "Whoa, I just noticed that when I got to the hotel, I started seeing ads from you guys." And I told him the dirty little secret is that the hotel we were staying at was within the 1 mile radius of Richie's Yard down in Florida. And so we had the ability to go in through Facebook and target anybody who was within that 1 mile radius. Making the assumption that somebody attending, or in that area was probably very, very interested in, construction auctions and construction equipment. So you have this amazing, targeting capability that has never existed before. and you can use it in all sorts of interesting ways. You can mix all these together, which is also the fascinating thing, the interest, the demographics, right? As most people know, this industry, the people who buy this equipment, they can fall into a certain demo, right? And so we focus highly on that as well. And so there's so much to play around with here, and there's so much to do, and you can do it like so easily. Right? Like it's I can't get over how easy it is to go set up, and you don't have to spend, tens of millions of dollars, right? You can go set up these campaigns, relatively straightforward, relatively easy. You can test them out, and I think you'll start seeing the results.
Yeah, that's so true. And I'm gonna kind of go over a little bit of that as well, hopefully towards the end. And yeah, the last one that I wanted to mention is behavioral targeting, and I just want to give a quick example of that. So that could be, someone working in construction industry, or people who work at a certain size of company, and it could be their device usage, some of their purchase behaviors, things of that nature. And like I said earlier, we also have third-party partners. So then let me kind of go into one of the really exciting parts of Facebook targeting. So we talked about broad reach, or what we call core audiences, but what's another interesting way of reaching people that Facebook offers is custom audiences. So you can reach people with the data you have on your customers or prospects, and it allows you to either reach customers you already know and continue their engagement with your business, or you can create custom audiences with a list of contacts like their email, phone number, user IDs, and target people who've just visited your website. You know that if they come to your website, they're probably interested in learning more about your business. Then you can use those people, use that list that you've generated, and then say, hey, retarget these on Facebook because I know they're interested in my business. And what you can also do is exclude some of the people. So for example, you have a list of really loyal customers already. You don't want to waste your advertising dollars on people who are already buying from you. You can exclude these people so you know you're reaching prospects, not your existing customers, which is really fun to play around with. And the natural next step to that is what we call lookalike audiences. So once you identify who your best customers are, we can find people that are similar to them to continually attract new customers similar to your best customers. And how do we do this? We base it on people who share demographics and behavioral traits with your best customers. And this is a great way to either expand your audience. So let's say you have this seed of customers that you're interested in. You can expand from there, so deliver more impressions, or you can use this for prospecting. So we get a sense of what types of customers you're interested in, and we find more and more those people for you automatically. Yeah, I know, Matt, you wanted to give an example to this as well. So do you want to talk through that?
No, we use this. This is one of the, so when you think about online advertising, right, this is, when Facebook introduced this, I think 2 or 3 years ago, obviously, you have someone out there like Google who does a lot of intent-based advertising, but Facebook really took a step ahead here when they announced this capability, and we use this, all the time at IronPlanet. So we can, where it comes into play for us is, we've seen people come to our website for, IronPlanet's been around for about 16 years now. And so, we've seen people who come to our website, and, they'll often search different types of things, but, a lot of people actually cluster around certain categories. So let's take, mini excavators. We know when, we can see people who come to the website and who search on mini excavators, who browse mini excavators, who maybe put mini excavators on their watch list, who have maybe bid on mini excavators. And so we can actually create a custom audience of this people. So let's say we take a group of people that's about 50,000 of these people. If we have, an auction coming up that's got a specific, it's got a large abundance of, a specific equipment type, or in a specific region, right? We can create these audiences, and then we essentially load them into Facebook. Now we're not, you don't give away any personal information, and what Facebook is doing is they're matching your person to their person in an anonymized way. And then you can run advertising. So, oh, hey, we've got, next week we've got a lot of mini excavators for sale. Come check them out, right? And it's a great way to reach people. Once again, right? There are alternative ways of doing that, right? You could, put together a brochure and mail it to everybody who was interested in mini excavators. That's one way to do it. But that takes time. It's costly, right? You're putting together stuff, you're mailing it out, so forth. You can do this, we can do this relatively quickly. We can spin up these campaigns, in a morning, right? And start reaching these people. And then you add on the lookalike capability where, Facebook goes out and says, all right, these are your 50,000 people who are interested in mini excavators. Let me go find people like them. And, you can control that, right? Do I want Facebook to be very, very precise in how they find those lookalikes, or am I will I let them be like vague? And it's like the coolest thing. It's like a slider button. Right? You just slide it back and forth, and you can almost determine the size of the audience you want to reach. And so it's one of these tools that, like I said, that these people are on Facebook. That you have engaging content, right? Everyone on this call has engaging content. Right, the stuff that we're buying and selling is, I think, interesting to people, and it's eye-catching, and so it's very simple and easy and powerful to put together these campaigns, using these tools, and you throw in the mobile aspect, and I encourage everybody out there. You'll start to see some really, really interesting results.
Awesome. And I just want to quickly chime in to say, if you guys have any questions coming up as we go through these materials, please feel free to add them into the chat box. We will make sure that we have some time at the end to answer your questions. So we want to make sure that we're getting them as they pop up in your head. So Matt, thank you so much for that and bringing more context into some of the options when it comes to reaching audiences. Next, I want to touch upon some of the solutions that might be relevant to your industry to kind of give a sense of, Matt touched upon how easy it is, and I kind of want to get a sense of, okay, so here are some of the few things you can do, maybe right after this call, if you would like, to get up and running with Facebook. Yeah. To start off with, we have advertising solutions, or the way we think about advertising solutions is we want to enable you to influence your decision makers at every stage of the path to purchase, whether you want to drive awareness or generate demand or acquire new prospects or get people to buy from you. And I will give a few examples of some of these that I would recommend starting off with. So I get asked a lot, ever since I joined Facebook, I have my business that I really want to promote. What should be the first thing I do on Facebook? To me, no brainer, the first step is the business page. And creating a business page allows you to showcase your products, your services with photos and videos and get that organic engagement. So without spending any money, you can start getting people engaged with your content, with your products, etc. And what's cool about it is that you will have your business address, and people will start following you if you have special Facebook promotions, which you can promote through your email list, for example. And the added bonus is that if you do not have a mobile-friendly website already, you automatically have a destination that's mobile-friendly to engage people who are on their mobile devices. And another nice functionality with the business page is that you can integrate with Messenger so that you can have direct conversations with your customers as well. So if they ask a question, you can immediately go into chat mode with them. And when and if you're ready, if you feel like it makes sense for your business, you can also promote any of your posts to gain more followers, reach more people, drive awareness to your page, to your products and promotions. And you can see it here is the boost post function here. So whenever you create an organic post, you will also see this boost post button. When you click that, it will go in through the targeting options that we talked about, that Matt highlighted. So it's literally pressing a few buttons. You say boost post, you select your audience, you put in how much money you want to spend, and then before you know it, you have an ad campaign up and running within minutes. The next one that I want to talk about, that's something fairly new, and the business use case I think doesn't come to people's mind as quickly, is Facebook Live. And I'm sure you may or you might have heard of Facebook Live before among your friends who go live to share their life experiences. So that's a fairly common use case. But at the end of the day, people love watching video. We just talked about how business decision makers love watching video when it comes to making business decisions. So this is a great way for you to, in a very lightweight way, to put video content. So it could be a couple of minute review on a product. It could be some informative mini webinar or a webinar like we're doing today, and you can go live. So let's kind of double click on that from a business perspective, and what it means for your business. This way you can reach your followers, and if any of your followers missed it, it automatically gets published to your page, so you have more content, more video content, more informative content on your page, and they can watch it at any time. And it's also a great way to attract new audiences to your page, because they will see it pop up in their feed if some of their friends liked your content, or other places where videos appear, it might show up to them as a recommended video. And at the end of the day, the broadcaster can remove the video at any time, just like any other post.
Yeah, I love that. I love this, Selin. I love this. We're actually going to use this at our upcoming sale in Las Vegas.
Awesome.
I think there's a great, because we do these live events, I think there's a great opportunity to start to engage people a different way when we think about these live auction events that happen in our industry.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, because a lot of people think of this first as a consumer product, but for me, the business use case is actually much more compelling, and it's just so lightweight, so easy to do. So then, here's a quick preview of what it looks like. All right, and the next thing I want to talk about is lead ads. So this is the first paid ad product that I want to talk about, because I know at the end of the day, for businesses, collecting leads is a really effective way to grow your business, but it tends to be challenging on mobile, because typing is tougher on mobile. But as we talked about, business audiences are increasingly on mobile. So this paradigm shift and this challenge is what we were looking to solve with lead ads and streamline the lead collection process on mobile. Because we have information on these people, the fields are pre-populated, as you will see here, and it takes away the typing, which is challenging on mobile, and then you can connect with your and then you can basically take this information. If you connect it to your customer relationship management tool, if it makes sense, it shows up in the system immediately. Otherwise, you can download this data and you can contact these people right away with the right information. And quickly, I want to kind of give you a little bit of more context from a company aptly named Big Ass Solutions. They're an industrial fan and lighting company, and they chose to use lead ads to grow their lead list. They were able to use Facebook targeting options to reach their audience effectively, and as Matt talked about, mostly using lookalike audiences to find people that are similar to their ideal customer profile. And the results they saw using lead ads, they were able to increase their number of leads, as you see here, and they were able to decrease their cost per lead. So it's a really powerful tool because it's so streamlined. It's very easy to collect these leads, and it's really streamlined in a way to follow up with them very quickly. All right, so I want to quickly wrap it up in terms of key takeaways, and then we'll open it up to questions. Number one is people are spending more and more time on mobile, and business audiences are no different. They're using their mobile devices to research products and services that are right for their businesses. So second point that leads me to is you want to be where your customers and potential customers are and be part of their decision-making journey. And the best way to do that is people-based marketing. So as I said, being able to engage your existing customers or find people like them or target people based on their interests and industry are some of the ways that Facebook allows you to reach the right people along their decision journey. And Lastly, I talked a little bit about some of our paid and free solutions. So when designing a mobile campaign, you want to be present at every stage of the decision journey. And as more and more research is done now on mobile phones as opposed to direct interaction with salespeople, this becomes increasingly vital. All right. So with that, I guess we're going to move on to the Q&A.
Yeah, no, thanks, Selin. I'll start taking a look at some of these questions. Before we jump in, once again, I think we're just scratching the surface here. Obviously this was a quick 40 minutes, but there's just some amazing possibilities when you start to open up to using some of these different platforms to even reach this type of audience. And I think, Selin, the first question is kind of appropriate. A lot of my transactions, happen on the phone or offline. Right? How do we, this is a question I get internally, how do we measure the success of a Facebook campaign, specifically in an industry where a lot of this stuff does actually happen, offline?
Yeah, so this is a question we've been getting a lot, and this year it's something that we have really focused on cracking. And we have a new solution called offline conversions. So what that allows you to do is it allows you to match the offline, quote unquote conversions or sales that you're seeing, and then if you upload this data to Facebook, it matches it to your campaigns to see who has seen your campaign and then who made a purchase offline. So you can actually see which one of your campaigns have been driving better offline results, or which audiences within your campaign are more receptive to your message. So when you're uploading this information, all you need to do is include their personal identifiers, and the more information you can provide, the better. And just a caveat, none of this information actually explicitly gets shared with us. It gets hashed, it gets converted into bits and zeros and ones, and in the background it gets matched, and so we can report back to you how effective your campaign was in driving offline conversions, which is something super new that I think this audience might be interested in.
Yeah, no, I think this is a common question even I get internally, at IronPlanet, because it's easy to see that Facebook drives a lot of traffic to IronPlanet when we look at our metrics. But a lot of the questions I get is, yeah, but do these people bid? Do these people buy? And I think one of the more interesting, back to the the people not pixels things, right? Or concept. One of the interesting things about Facebook traffic tracking out there is this whole element of cross-device, because we see a lot of people who initially come in on mobile, because that's where we reach them. But when we run a Thursday auction or we run a live event, right? Most people may not necessarily, they may be back at their desktop ready to bid on a particular item, and so we want to capture that activity. And so Facebook allows us to really identify some of the cross-device stuff that helps us understand the efficacy of the advertising we're doing. So hey, here's another question.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was just going to add one more thing. Yeah, I was also going to say, Matt, that for all our advertising campaigns, you can actually optimize for that objective. So if your goal is to drive sales, you can actually optimize for conversion. So what Facebook will do is take this offline information or look at your online information, whichever is relevant, and say, oh, we see that these types of audiences are really driving sales for your business. So we will give your impressions more towards those types of audiences. So what you'll see over time as well is that Facebook will learn which types of audiences are responding to your ads, and will convert and will revert the impressions to those people as well.
Here's a question that just came in. I think what kind of support do you guys offer to businesses that are utilizing the ad platforms?
That's an interesting question. So we have different support tiers. Depending on how much you want to invest in your partnership with Facebook. So the easiest way is, as I said, a lot of our tools are meant to be extremely lightweight, easy to use, especially when it comes to getting started. So we have a great help center materials. If within our interface, you can literally go like, oh, I want to learn more about this, and then it'll take you to an interface that will give you step-by-step instructions, videos, etc. If you're looking to make the next Sorry, did you want to say something?
No, I was just saying, I just put it along those lines, like, I can do it. So,
Yeah, I mean,
if that's any indication, I can go in and set up campaigns. It actually, it's like using Facebook as a consumer, right? It's really,
yeah.
it's all drag and drop, all, oh, I want to target these types of people, and then there's like these sliders, and you can say, I want to run this campaign. It's going to reach 100,000. No, it's going to reach 50. So it's very, very, very simple. Sorry, I'll let you finish on the support.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like, we are at the end of the day, we started consumer first. So the way in our DNA, what we're looking to do is like while you're on the go on your mobile device, you should be able to set up a mobile ad campaign. So that's kind of within our DNA. So I would say our help center is probably the most applicable. But then, we do offer some more complex products like using our APIs or real-time retargeting with your product catalog, things of that nature. And as your spend with Facebook increases, then you get dedicated support, et cetera, et cetera. So we have different tiers depending on how complex your product needs get.
So here's an interesting question. I think I'll take a shot at it first since we do it. But so the question is, Facebook is a relatively new medium in the B2B space. I guess in the long run of advertising, long-term advertising, that's true. Where do you see print fitting into the marketing mix in the future? And I'll take a shot at this one first because this is something we work with all the time at IronPlanet. We still use print. We still mail brochures and we mail catalogs and so forth. And I think where we have transitioned, at the end of the day too, we're primarily an online venue. Even when we run a live event, the vast majority of our bidding audience is actually online. We use print, in a very, very targeted way. So we've kind of reduced the use of print over the last year, and so we're focused around specific events where we want to actually augment our digital campaign. So if we're running, let's say Las Vegas coming up, we'll focus our print and our brochure geographically around Las Vegas, try to reach the people in that area who we think, could come to an event, right, in that particular way. But we'll still do a lot of heavy digital work, even for our live events. And I think, I think that the point of this is not to say, print is bad, TV's bad, Facebook's good. I think that the point of this was to point out that specifically I go back to that slide, like where are people spending their time, right? And that's been a constant internet theme, ever since the dawn of advertising online, is like this gap between, advertising dollars and where people are spending their time. And I think it's when you select your marketing mix, when you're looking at your media mix, you have to take so many factors into account. What type of event is this? What am I trying to drive? Who am I trying to reach? And so forth. And so I think it just becomes, it's still a little bit of an art, right? But I think, we're moving to the place where you just look at the times people are spending on their mobile phones. You look at the amount of time people are spending, on social. I'll give you another example. We send a lot of our emails in the evening now, as opposed to in the morning. Why? Because we've noticed that people who watch TV, they sit there and they're holding their mobile phone, right? And they're on social, they're commenting on TV shows. So that's a great time to reach people with that. So a lot of these questions around marketing mix, the world's just changing so fast that you're just going to have to test and adapt and try different things. But what we wanted here today was just make you aware that there are new channels out there that you should be looking at.
Yeah, I think well said, Matt. I have not much to add. I think at the end of the day, it's making sure that you're utilizing all channels in the most effective way possible. And really, mobile opens up new ways, like you said, in reaching your audience. You will know at what time your audiences are converting. You will know on what devices they're converting. You know what types of people are converting. And that additional information, as people shift more and more of their eyeballs to mobile, will help you reach them where they are. But that doesn't mean print doesn't exist. So there's still, quite a bit of time that people spend on print. So you want to make sure that you're experimenting with the art and science of advertising and find the right mix that works for your business.
Cool. So let's take I think we got time for a couple more. Let's take this question here on daily budget. How does the daily budget actually work? If I'm trying to reach people at a sale, is it better? What more will $5 a day do versus $2 a day? Well, why don't you talk a little bit about how, if you can, about how the daily budget. So one thing before Selin goes into her answer, there's another example of media mix and why. You can spike things up during the day if you see good results, or you can turn it down during the day if you see bad results and stuff like that. There's just a lot of flexibility with these new channels that you should take into account.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, Matt, like this is kind of one of those tough questions to answer. Like it looks really easy, but it's a really tough question. So whoever asked it, kudos to you. So the way that I would think about this is, obviously, the more specific you want to get with your audience, the higher the cost. So it completely depends on what you're looking to get out of your campaign. You might want to reach, someone that's exactly in the audience you want for $5, or you might want to reach more people, a broader audience at a lower price point. So I think this is one of those things that you want to play with the dials and go with the budget that you're comfortable with, and maybe start broad and then get more and more specific, or start really specific, see results, and then start getting broader. It's really one of those things that kind of comes down to the art of advertising and the strategy that you want to have. So for example, you can go with your CRM data, get super specific, maybe have a bigger budget because you know that you are going to be getting more out of those audiences that are already engaged, and then you set aside a little bit more budget towards experimentation with broader audiences, and then find these micro audiences that work for you. Yeah, I think it kind of, again, goes back to experimentation and finding the right mix. But I would say at the end of the day, it's not a $2 versus $5 thing. It's more of a, what's the granularity of the audience you want to target, and, how does that fit into your marketing strategy, and how comfortable are you, how comfortable are you reaching? So for example, when you set $5, it will tell you on the side, oh, you're approximately going to be reaching this many people. So like, is that the right audience size for you? All of these kind of factor in. It's kind of an organizational decision, I would say.
Yeah, no, we use this. We use this in different ways. Depending on the event and what we're marketing. So, give you an example. So we'll have, we'll kind of have constant, like, always on campaigns, right? People who are interested in excavators, people who are interested in wheel loaders, people who are interested in so on, so on, so on. As we get near an event, right, we'll either take a look at a specific seller package, or we'll take a look at a specific equipment type, as I mentioned before, or we'll take a look at the event, right? And we'll start creating different campaigns right around the event, that sort of amp up traffic in certain areas. So, like, in Florida, right? We long out before Florida, we were just focused on, general audience type stuff. As we got nearer to Florida, we started to split apart the days, day 1, day 2, day 3. Then when we split apart the days, into people who we knew, day 1 was, backhoe loaders and whatnot. So we knew we had interest groups associated with backhoe loaders. We started to hit those people. Day 2 was, crawler tractors and so forth, right? So we started to, hit, our custom audiences around crawler tractors associated with that campaign. And then we also had kind of an interest or lookalike part of that campaign. So you can really start to get really flexible and targeted in how you do this, and that's where, quite frankly, as a marketer, that's where the fun comes in, and so forth. So, I highly suggest that you try that.
Cool.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more question. So let's look at this. What are some of the tips you have? I think a simple thing people can do. There's a question about company's Facebook page? And this is pretty straightforward. What are some of your tips about just setting up the Facebook page and getting that getting started there?
Yeah. I think what's really cool about the Facebook page is it's exactly like setting up your profile, like the information that you want to share. It's making sure that, you have your business information, it's easy for people to contact you, all that stuff. But I also want to kind of talk a little bit about some of the ways that you might not necessarily be thinking about using your Facebook page if you have one. It's a great way to feature your company culture. To me, that's a great way to attract new employees to your company, because they'll also come to your Facebook page to check out, like, oh, is this company a great company to work for, etc. So that's something to think about. Um, it's a good place to share visuals, tips that people in your industry may want to share. So you're basically creating this free marketing for yourself. So always think about, maybe there's 5 tips on buying XYZ or whatever it may be. Creating those helpful nuggets is super important in getting some additional reach. We just launched a product called Jobs, and it's currently in US and Canada, but you'll be able to expand this outside fairly soon. And basically on your page you can post jobs and get job applicants through the messenger, which is super convenient, and you can literally do this or people can literally apply through their mobile phone. So that's an interesting way. And I think creating events is a very good way to use your Facebook page as well. So let's say, like Matt already talked about how important events are in the industry. So you can create either Facebook events, webinars, or real events and post them on your site so that more and more attendees come to your events. And another interesting way that I think might be helpful to think about is asking questions to get feedback or engagement from the audience. So it could be a question about, what should we be featuring in terms of content on this page, or which one of these features do you like better? But it's a really quick way of getting feedback on the products you want to buy next season, or how your customers are thinking about your customer service, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, when you're thinking about your Facebook page, think beyond just posting a bunch of images or using it just for advertising. It's a great way to deepen the dialogue with your customers, find new employees to work for you, do free marketing for yourself, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. I've got nothing to add to that. That was great. So I think it's a little after 11, so I'm conscious of everybody's time, and I want to thank Selin. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and I want to thank everyone out there for joining us. Once again, this was recorded, so feel free to pass it around. I think it's incredibly valuable information, and like I said, like that question on marketing mix. Yeah, there's a lot of change going on. I think it's just good for you guys to have this information, right, in your, or have this arrow in your quiver when it comes to think about marketing, because there's amazing potential here. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's been a blast. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.